This white lady is questioning why black women keep asking men for money if they so independent.
I think it's a very valid question.
She does not have a valid point. You can't say we're providers, and then when women turn around and expect you to provide, have a problem with it.
It's like if you have all these things already, then why would you need it from someone else? We hear a lot of conversations where women want their hair and nails did before the second, third, or fourth, fifth date. Where the do they do that at?
She may have spoken out of turn. It doesn't mean that what she said was wrong. That's not knowing your value. That's charging a stupid tax.
I don't like it when I bring up the tax, because they own the tax men they don't like.
So I want to talk about next is this new viral clip, right? Where this white lady is questioning why black women keep asking men for money if they so independent. She like, and I quote, "If you don't need them financially, why do you still expect them to provide? Isn't that contradictory?" So the internet had mixed reactions, right? Some people said she was out of pocket. Other people said that, she said what she said. And she said what folks been thinking. And, thank you, white princess, for speaking up, or whatever y'all call them. So why? But, people maybe were too afraid to say it. So tonight, what I want to ask is sponsorship still a standard in modern dating? Right? Is it gold digging or goal setting or goal digging? And women, are women being strategic, or are they being manipulative? Or are some men just sensitive when the price of access goes up and they can't afford it? Recession and all. So let's open it up, man. What y'all think?
Man, first of all, I want to say since we're inviting everybody into the group chat. We've got the into the straight heterosexual group chat. I'm glad we've got the white queens in the straight black heterosexual group chat. So, because we've opened it up to everybody, and I'm totally okay with that. Diversity and all of that. Having said that, I think it's a very valid question. I mean, we've been strong and independent for 50 years. I'm like, if you're making, all of this money and you got all of this stuff going on, you got the most houses, the most education, and shout out to the sisters that are doing that. Why do you need a man who makes all of these monies? Like, what are you going to do with it? Like, why do you need that? If you've got all the ends already meeting, why do you need it? Why do you need his? It's okay. Now, we know this is all cap because we know the average child support payment is about $250, $300 maybe. So they are not having relations and reproducing with these high-performing men that they say they need and deserve access to. We know this is complete crap. This is all cap. So, I think the white queen's got a good question. We know the answer, but, it's one of those things. We're not going to say the answer out loud. This is just comedy. And, I'm glad the white queen is in the chat. Shout out to them. I hope they stay.
Oh, my God. I love this for you, sir. And so let me just go ahead.
Is that genuine happiness the way Cam Newton was happy for Cam Michelle? Or just, are you...
It's like Cam Newton happiness.
Is that Cam Newton happiness? Okay.
Let me go ahead and just get my glasses straight for this one.
Oh, boy.
First of all, she ain't invited to the goddamn barbecue, picnic, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, first of all. Second of all, she has some goddamn audacity to come into this conversation as well, because white women in general are known for being fucking gold diggers. They actually go to college for the purpose of husband hunting so that they can get that gold. They scout out basketball players, NBA players, and anybody else who they believe can provide them with that gold. So who the hell is she to tell us that because we're strong and independent that we don't also deserve some gold? So first, let's talk about just that aspect of it. So she does not have a valid point, because the whole purpose of the feminist movement was because they didn't have any independence and they wanted the independence that the black woman had. And now that the black woman has proven that she can be independent, now they got to come back and find something else to have a problem with the community, because of course she wants the black men to co-sign, because guess what? She probably got a black man in her closet. And if she don't, she probably got one that she want around the neighborhood, and she need to be that mouthpiece, just like every other white woman that talks shit on behalf of black men, because they feel that they can get a pass on that and they can go viral on that, because right now it's all shit on black women type shit. So here's my thing, and I apologize for all this cursing on this day of Jubilee, but it's because it's this day of Jubilee that I'm having problems with this white woman being in our business. She ain't even at the picnic, so get the hell out the yard. And so to answer the question though, here's my question, and it's a question with a question. I know it's kind of messed up, but women. Right? So men always say we're providers. And then women say, okay, then provide. Now it's a problem. So you can't say we're providers, and then when women turn around and expect you to provide, have a problem with it. You can't say that she's a gold digger just because she may be economically self-aware of what she's bringing to the table, which is something else that Black men in particular has asked. What are you bringing to the table? You want her to be independent. You want her to have her own money, but you don't want her to want you to have the same, because shouldn't two independent people, because he's independent and he has his own money and she's independent, she has her own money, shouldn't they both be bringing that independence and their money to the table as well? And so that's one. The second, how in the hell, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this one. But how in the hell this double standard exists so firmly in our community when we already know that traditionally the Black woman has always worked anyways? We're acting like the Black woman hasn't worked for her shit, and just because she want to have the soft life that y'all paraded about, talking about traditional this and traditional that, now it's a problem because she want that soft life. How you know she ain't trying to quit her job once she gets somebody because she want that soft life and that traditional lifestyle that y'all been preaching, that we want Black women to be stay-at-home wives and we want them to do this and we want that. We don't know what her future situation may present or how she wants to present herself in the future, because she may want that traditional life. So you're saying we want to praise men for providing, but at the same time criticize women for expecting the men to provide? So that's the second point. The last thing I would like to just point out is fuck that bitch once again, because she ain't part of our community and she ain't got no goddamn dog in this fight. And so she need to go sit her ass back down, suck whatever fucking... Oh, wait, let me be nicer, because once again, this is the day of Jubilee. So she needs to stay in her lane, and her lane ain't our lane in this particular case, especially since you guys just got done talking about, oh boy, need to stay in his lane and all this group chat shit. So she needs to get the fuck out our group chat, because this don't concern her. And I bet you any money, let's go look at her profile, go look at her stats and what she's bringing and who's bringing what to her community, because she's doing it for dollars. So why are we letting somebody outside our community divide us even more, considering that we have enough division in our community in the first place? Can we please stop the games with the gender war, first of all? Because even the what's his name? Quentin Latham was dividing with the gender war, right? So let's stop the gender war and stop inviting other people to help divide us. Fuck that shit and fuck that bitch.
So I'll say this, right? I want to say this, right? Because S&M is right. You know, sometimes we got to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? If I got on the brother for what he did, I have to admonish that white girl, you know, with the same rigor. So, ma'am, if you're watching, that was just not cool what you did, and we just would appreciate it if you did not do that again for public consumption. Okay. So now that we even
Okay.
you know, bad white girl, give me feedback. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, right? If I'm gonna be honest, furthermore, since you weren't that cute, you, you, you know, there is that you are cute enough to enter the group chat. Sorry. So I gotta agree with that scenario there. If she was a little bit more higher, I might be like, yeah, what you said, girl, if we as a man gonna be honest, you know, there's certain, it's like the Black dude who's messing with the white girl and will let her call, you know, say the N-word, right? Sometimes you gonna make a pass because you like that ass. Okay, that's number two. I'm going to say that. Number three, this may not relate to this point, but it kind of does. Like, we just talked about two groups within the Black community that are hating on Black men. And then y'all want to be mad that someone from the outside showing us a little bit of love and we're paying attention, right? There's a lesson there. Message, right? Because message, that's how they get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, right? So I'm just putting it out there. I get it that y'all like Becky, but y'all be leaving a lot of room for Becky's out here sometimes and don't want to claim that or own that. Now, back to the conversation at hand. This is what confuses me about this conversation, right? And I get some of the points that's being made. But if you are a woman who's making her own money and you're a boss, I think the question, at least maybe that's a clip I saw, is like, if you have all these things already, then why would you need it from someone else? To a certain extent, because you've established those things for yourself. The young lady who I think was coming interspersed in the clip, she said specifically, I thought, hey, she wanted money from the other guy. It wasn't a simple matter of, hey, I do me, you do you, we meet at the level and we're both here. No, it was, hey, I do me, I'm doing me so great, ha ha ha, I need a man on my level, but oh yes, while he's on my level, I need him to be higher because I want him to give me some money too. And it's like, hold on, like the same things that you want us to prize, we might prize them, but we prize them differently. When we hear about your degrees and your career, we think, oh, she got her own shit. That's a good thing. We're not thinking, oh my God, she has all these crazy standards because she's adulting out here. We're not thinking those things, right? Or because she prioritized things differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not thinking those things, right? So I think there was confusion, right? If you're asking a man who has his own, he meets a woman who has her own, I think they can figure out if something's there. You know what I'm saying? The tricky part becomes when she has her own, and then she expects to have some of his own too, right? Sometimes maybe even prematurely. We hear a lot of conversations where women want their hair and nails did before the second, third, or fourth, fifth date. Where the fuck do they do that at? Where did these things come from? Right? Even young girls in high school are expecting these young boys to get their nails did. Off of what job, queen? What are we doing? So I think it's fair to have the conversation around expectation, particularly from a community that doesn't do well when it comes to finances. If you want to talk about having stats to back something up, how about we back that up? Right? So I think there's a real question in regards to not only how we look at money, but then also the expectations that we have of others, especially when we sometimes ain't doing that good ourselves. Sis, just because you have a credit card you can max out don't mean you better than nobody. That brother who may not have as much debt as you, that's still an asset because you can build with somebody who doesn't have debt like you do. I don't understand. That's why I know y'all don't be understanding about how money works, because y'all be looking at the wrong shit, right? So I think men oftentimes hear some of the delusion that comes from some of y'all, right? And we hear, what the fuck is she talking about? That's what the problem is, right? Because guess what? Most dudes who love or vibe or build with women, we've been conditioned to want to do for y'all. Some of y'all ain't getting done for because we don't want to do for y'all, not because we can't do. Y'all are confusing the two. You know what I'm saying? And y'all pretend like, oh, niggas don't do. Nah, sis. Niggas don't do because you let him do you for less. And then you're mad that he don't want to have to pay for it after the fact or show up in the relationship the way that you wanted him to, right? So I get it. So now women are like, well, shit, if he's going to fuck me and leave anyways, I might as well get my hair did. I see how you value yourself, queen, and you're mad that we value yourself even less. You set the bar. So I hear you. This conversation around sponsorship, and I know what women are gonna say. Guys don't be happy. I wish Tia was here. Guys don't be happy to be the guys talking about sponsorship. Yeah, you know why those guys can talk about it? You guessed it, because they fucking some of y'all anyway. For as much grief and shit that y'all talk. And I'm gonna say this a lot in closing, at least for me, because I feel like I might have shot enough communities for the night. You know what I'm saying? Listen. There are only few situations where you should listen to women. You know what I'm saying? Most of them, most of the time, it's a pass. Like, when I say listen, yes, you want to hear them, but you have to filter what you're listening to, and you cannot always take them verbatim or seriously or for real, right? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they just don't be knowing. You know how I know? Ask her what she wants to eat for dinner tonight, but I digress. My point is, some of you, no, yes. She says no, you listen to that shit, right? Hell no, right? But what I'm saying is, y'all spend too much time listening to these women in these clips. These women who claim that they have these standards and they only fuck with these type of guys. It's cap. It's like the women who are on Clubhouse talk about divesting, and them niggas was laying up with niggas. You know what I'm saying? Bitch, you ain't divesting nobody because nobody white would invest in you. The fuck are we talking about? And finally, I know that's how finally, if there's any ladies out there looking for sponsorship, let's talk. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple of dollars. Now, granted, if you think your box is enough, it's not. I'm actually going to put you out to work. We got some marketing opportunities, right? We doing posting for the BLC pod. Y'all hoes who want shit for free just because you think the box is all that. I hate to tell you, the price of pussy has been coming down since Instagram became popular. The fuck are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
And with that, I bid you guys adieu on this topic.
Okay, all right. So you guys have been very thorough, and you raised some valid points, except for S&M. I don't know what the fuck she was on, but no. All right. So, but I guess I think you guys are missing like the beauty of the moment here, the irony. Okay, here it is, Juneteenth, and now we have this white lady who, yes, Nick, you're right, and S&M, you're right. She may have spoken out of turn, right? It doesn't mean that what she said was wrong. Okay, so like the person who came around for Juneteenth and told all the slaves they was free, she came around with a message this Juneteenth for the men. You know what I mean? And she didn't single out Black women. She just said women. It just happened to be a Black woman who was laying there on the bed, you know what I'm saying, doing nothing but posting, talking about, I need somebody to keep up my lifestyle. All we know is she got satin sheets. We think they satin. They might be sateen. We don't know what the rest of her furniture looks like. We don't even know if it's an air mattress. We don't know if she got food in the fridge. She's talking about her lifestyle and her standard, right? So I think it's a bit much. All right, so let's talk money, motives, and modern dating. Quick and clean. All right, that clip. All right, the lady, she said it bold, right? If you don't need them financially, I'll ask you for money, right? And then everybody raised their eyebrows. And the question is not as wild as folks made it, right? Because there's a difference between being sponsored and being strategic. Sponsored says, he pays because I'm pretty. Strategic says, he invests because I'm valuable. Right? It's a big difference, right? If you got 5 ninjas paying your rent, your car, your lights, whatever, you have a bunch of sponsors. Okay? Yes, you a project, you a candidate, you whatever, you got sponsors. Congratulations, you are now a professional something because you have endorsements. Okay? And maybe it's a gold digger. Not my word, Kanye used it. Right? I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she don't mess with no broke. So usually a broke man slang, gold digger is what broke dudes call people they can't afford. But there are real gold diggers out there. There are women who want nothing more than your pocket. They want nothing more than your resources. They will drain you and move on to somebody else who can provide bigger, faster, or more or flashier, right? And the interesting thing about this is compatibility is currency, right? But these women are really trading on their looks. And that's really a bad deal because looks are guaranteed to fail, even with the best plastic surgery. Nobody stays ageless. So I'm supposed to pay for you and subsidize you and sponsor you for something that is presently devaluing at a phenomenal rate and isn't even insured? Man, that's crazy. Let's be real, because real love is emotional. Real love is dating is economic, but love is emotional, right? Y'all want a soft life partner for your dating life, right? You want a soft life partner for your struggling finances. If you was really making it, you wouldn't need so many sponsors if you really had it together. And then if a guy came along, this guy that you want, this 6-figure guy who's 6 feet tall and does blah, 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 when he comes along, if and when he comes along for you, I'm sure it's not just so you can sit still. Right? It's funny because S&M talked about women and the feminist movement and fighting to get into the workforce. And it's funny because the same people who fought to get in the workforce, a lot of them are fighting to be soft life now. And they want to stay home. And it's real weird. It's like pick a struggle. Look, so if you're vibing, imagine her vision player, maybe she's not greedy. She's just not the one. Let her be gone. You know what I mean? She's down on your level. And let's be honest. If a Black man had said what that white lady said, you ought to cancel him before he hit sin. Like as soon as he went out there, you ought to been all up on him. But sometimes the truth only goes viral when it comes from the wrong mouth.
First of all, bullshit. Go ahead.
See, there you go. If it
No, I'm
triggered
saying
you,
bullshit
if it
because
triggered
black
you,
men
ask
have
yourself
said it.
why.
I'm
If
saying
it
black
triggered you,
men
ask
have
yourself
said it.
why.
I
Go
did
ahead.
ask myself why, and I'm telling you, it's because black men have said that very same statement that they don't want, if you so independent, you don't need our money. As a matter of fact, there's been countless comments that when somebody talk about their independence or they're doing something good, they'll say something like, well, if you so independent, then go independently do this, or you don't need our money for this, or why are you asking us for money? Like these are comments from men. And so it's not that she's saying it and it's unique and whatnot. It's only unique because she's taking advantage of the fact that she's white, and for some silly ass reason, sounds to me like we're giving more validity just because of the fact that she's a white woman saying it versus if what has already been said by Black men countless times. And as a matter of fact, some Black women actually have made this statement as well
Yeah, I wouldn't hear it from
about
her.
the whole independence. So I just want to add you some additional stuff since
Okay,
you
then I'll
went
push
down
back.
this
Go ahead.
road. I'm looking forward to this pushback because I'm going to add some additional stuff to that, because here's how I feel. I feel like just because she can do it doesn't mean she has to do it or she should do it, i.e. go at it on her own by herself, or I won't even say that, but not rely on a man for their money. So we're talking about this whole independence, right? And because we've been socialized to survive without a man, whereas men kind of been taught to thrive with a woman's support, but that woman's support isn't free. we're used to women providing free emotional labor, right? Bring that emotional support, that peace, that organization skills, the encouragement, the social intelligence and whatnot. And so if a man can't bring money to the situation to help overcompensate where he's lacking somewhere else, i.e. that emotional intelligence piece, because most of them don't. Now, I will admit, once again, on this panel, you guys tend to be more emotional intelligent, as in you are emotionally intelligent. So therefore, you may not have to feel like you have to overcompensate by bringing the additional money to the table. So women who make money know that their peace is priceless, basically. And so she's not about to risk it for somebody who can't provide her with stability, because men who make less have a tendency to bring their egos as well as their anger, resentment, and everything else to the table and constantly trying to tear that woman down because they're making less.
Oh
And
my God.
no, I actually have friends who have gone through that where they get clowned because they make more. Some people are like, oh, well, maybe it's their attitude. Because I even asked myself, I said, well, maybe it's your attitude. Or maybe it's the way you present, the fact you throw this in their face. Do you do this? And their answer was like, no. But every chance they got, they tore them down in every possibility. So if this man is equally yoked, or he's coming somewhere else, or he's has more offered to this particular woman, then 9 out of 10, the relationship has a better chance of having that stability because the man feel like he's in control, he's in power. And as a matter of fact, most of the men who have been abusive, and don't get me wrong on this one, but abuse, for one, cuts across all demographics, right? But it has been shown also that men who feel like they lack power in their relationship, and because men have a tendency to equate money to power, those men tend to be more likely to be abusive to their partner, their spouse, their significant other, because they lack that money. So it's having somebody to want more. Now, this clip that you guys are talking about, that's not how she presented it. But I'm just saying overall in society, there is a valid point for a woman, whether she's independent, claiming independence or not, to want somebody to make more.
Okay, I don't mean to leave y'all out of this, man, but it's just okay. So let's say, first off, you're putting this in a relationship thing, and this woman was talking dating. If we're dating, I don't need to sponsor you. Okay, dating should be where you show me you do have it together, where you show me you can balance your budget, where you show me you can watch your money, and I see how your spending habits are. So I know if I want to partner with you, because once we partner together in an actual relationship, then we are building our lives together. So let's say it's like a business, right? Let's say our business is making apple pies. Okay, now if we go out in the field and you decide you want to be an apple collector, and I'm an apple collector too, okay, and you collect more apples than me, all right? What is the sense of you going, no, I'm going to use all your apples because I need to maintain the lifestyle of having a bucket full of apples I've been having? Instead of saying, let's make these pies and sell what we got to do and put it all together. It's that my money is my money and your money is my money mentality. That's the problem. And when it happens in dating, it's premature and it's out of place. If you're trying to build a future together, what I'm saying, on the first date, second date, third date, I'm dating 3 people at one time. Why am I financing these people? I have not chosen one. I'm not protecting them. They're not under my protection, my provision. And I'm saying if a person got triggered as you were, then I think it's because women are using this as their lifestyle and not a strategy. Not like, oh, I got my bills paid, but I just want to do this thing. Hey, can you do this thing? That's one thing. But if you're asking to be on the payroll, that's gold digging because you don't have proper goal setting. Okay? That's not knowing your worth. That's not knowing your value. That's charging a stupid tax or a thirsty tax. That's what
They don't like it when I bring up the tax because they own the tax men they don't like.
Facts. It rhymes with tax.
Because I always say, no matter whatever standards, whatever, I got all these standards, you got to make all of this money, I got all these standards. Guess what? She's giving it to lesser men for less. And I'm going to leave it at that.
You know, I found this concept that you said S&M that women who are well off want peace.
No, they value peace.
They all value peace.
I said women that are well off value peace.
What's well off exactly? Can we put some numbers on here? Because I feel like there's a lot of like thousandaires or 10,000aires or whatever that feel like they're much better off than people, right?
Okay, so One,
can we
you're
put a
not
number
going
on
to
it?
trap me into this conversation of putting a number, because if somebody feel like they're as far as well off, because everybody have difference between well off. Somebody who's in the middle class, a woman who's in the middle class may feel like she's well off, whereas somebody who is in the upper middle class, lower middle class, or however the case may feel like they're well off for whatever the situation they're in at that time. What I will say is this: the reason why I pointed that out, because I kind of know where you're going. The reason why I pointed that out is because they've been studies shown that prove a man who is financially capable and generous often feels more confident, secure, and less emotionally chaotic when he's in a relationship. That's the reason why I pointed out the whole peace thing.
What the? No, that's not what. No,
What?
that doesn't. You
I'm telling
That
you,
mean when
the
she's
studies
not
show.
stroking him, he does better.
This
That's a whole different
conversation is not that exciting. We're gonna need to wrap it on up. I'm sorry, because what the fuck are we talking about here?
She brought in some red herring stuff.
I'm saying the idea that women who are better off want peace. That's cap. You know what I'm saying? Most of y'all don't want peace, for real.
Oh.
That's why one of the stories that we did talk about was how women get bored in relationships, right? Like, I don't think we really understand the fact that sometimes healthy relationships can be bored. You know what I'm saying? And peaceful. And guess what? Sometimes one person enjoys that environment and sometimes the other person does not. And I'm sorry, I don't think it's the woman who's want to be peaceful like that. Sorry.
Right.
So that's cap, right? I think what happens is, and I'll make this quick because again, listen, what's really happening is, because SNL, I was going to ask you a question, but it's going to be rhetorical, so please don't answer. Because I doubt that your friend came back to you, the one who said, "Oh, my husband or whoever I'm dating is so insecure." I doubt she came back to you and told you about the ways that she might have been manipulative because she was in the position financially, right? She probably didn't tell you about the ways that she maybe tried and succeeded in making him feel small. I'm not saying that's what happened, but oftentimes, and I know even my friends, they'll come back to me and tell me shit. And I'm like, okay, what's the other side to it, right? So I get it that you want to use that as an example, but there's also examples where men are okay and they are doing other things. But there's some women who, for whatever reason, who have not been comfortable being in a position of power, right? Some women who maybe have past hurts and traumas they haven't dealt with or fully gotten over, or they have archaic, just like, it's funny to me because I think this is where you missed it too, S&M. Some of the same women who are claiming their independence be the same one who also want to claim tradition to a certain extent. Right. And for men, they're saying, well, I'm confused. Which one did you want? Because on the one hand, you don't say you need a nigga, but then all of a sudden I'm here and worthy. Now you need my money. I am so confused. I'm getting mixed messages. Right. The truth of the matter is most people are not walking around out here, their chest all poked out. Oh, I need a man to provide for me, because most of y'all ain't living at that level for real, for real. People are meeting other people at their levels or around their levels and they're figuring it out. So a lot of this conversation don't pertain to really most people, because many of y'all aren't doing that well to begin with to even really be having this conversation. And that includes some of y'all who just don't understand how debt works when you talk about somebody's net worth to a certain extent. So I get it. Y'all want to be balling on plastic, not paper. That's cool. And y'all want to then throw it in niggas' faces and then get mad, because I think it's a natural reaction for people who feel like you're trying to small talk down to somebody or whatever, to respond accordingly. So I don't think that the people who respect it, it's all good, but it's the people who don't respect it, the people who are disrespectful, I think, who are really having this conversation, because you're disrespecting people by expecting them to sit there and hear you say one thing and then expect them to show up a different way. The math is just not mathing. That's all I got to say.